So is this the completed Geonosis mock? Not yet. So welcome back everybody to week 9 of building Geonosis. In the last couple weeks, a lot has happened to this mock, to the point where you could look at it and say that it's pretty much finished. I would say my vision is almost there. It's exactly what I was imagining from the very beginning of this series, but we're not done yet. So first off, I've got to thank my friend Lee, Brick Builder Studios, for being the one pushing me along this entire way. It was him who back in July was like, David, you've got to finish it for Brick Fair. I didn't want to bring it to the convention. I knew it was going to be a ton of work. There was still so much left to do. An entire droid factory, a battlefield to cover, the mountains to cover, super tanks to be made. It just seemed impossible. And it absolutely would have been if it wasn't for the help from Jay, Rich Boy Jay, Caleb from Blackwell Bricks, Hunter from Lego Boy 12, Aaron from 327 Bricks, and of course, Lee from Brick Builder Studios. The 5 of them came together just 2 days prior from Brick Fair, Virginia, and we completed almost the entire mock exterior. So now let me show you just exactly what happened, starting with day 1. So I have enlisted the help of both Lee, Brick Builder Studios. We got Hunter,
Hello.
Lego Boy 12 over here. What's up, man? This is your first time here in the studio.
First time here. Super excited. Love it.
What are you working on over there, Hunter?
I'm making some rock structures for like the sides right here.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go like, skip some and then I'll make some in different colors, mix it up. So.
I'm very excited to see what you do. Lee, what are you working on over here?
I'm continuing the trench from our last visit here, working on Geonosis.
You've already finished this area, I just realized.
I just realized the same thing. I was just placing pieces, and look where we got.
Oh my gosh.
Just basically blending up the trench up to the top terrain area.
Those of you wondering, this is my project. The second I stop recording, I'm going to be working on the droid factory. Over here we have Aaron 327 Bricks, aka the co-host of the Bricks Cast.
Yes.
He's finally here in person for the very first time in my studio as well. How are you doing, man?
I'm great.
What are you working on right now?
Working on the winner from your super tank competition. And I'm building 3 of them at the same time, which is a lot harder than I thought it'd be, but it's a fun challenge.
Well, I gotta hand it to Ben that he at least sent over some instructions. Could you imagine building this without the instructions that he provided?
No, I don't like that you put the image in my head of that idea, so I'm not gonna imagine that. But thank you for the offer.
All right, well, good luck, Aaron, and we'll probably get back to work. And Rich Boy Jay should be showing up shortly. So while Aaron continues to work on the super tank, Hunter and Lee, in the meantime, have been working very hard on the trench area. I, on the other hand, had to go pick up Jay from the airport. All right, so it is day 2 now. Lee and Hunter are still working on the trench. Looks like they're finishing it up right now. Over here, Jay and I have been working together on the cake.
Hello, guys.
Jay has arrived now, and what are you working on, man?
Yeah, so I've been working on basically the sections to fill these gaps in right here. We all put our collective minds together, and we kind of eventually concluded on something like this. So these little builds like this will come in here and actually fill those gaps pretty nicely. So pretty happy with this. This is, I guess, my first prototype, and just kind of getting a feel for everything, finding out where all the pieces are, having unlimited supplies of seemingly everything has been a very nice building experience. So if you guys can make it happen, change your life. Promise.
So this would mark the very first time Jay and I have ever collaborated together on a build. While I've helped him out before with Starkiller Base out in Texas, this is the first time that we ever really just sat down and built together. And I gotta say, this was an amazing experience. Jay is a wonderful builder, one of the best, honestly, in the LEGO Star Wars community, and getting to build alongside him for hours on end was actually a lot of fun. Aaron, in the meanwhile, was continuing to work on those super tanks. Keep in mind, guys, that this is over 3,000 to 4,000 pieces, I believe, between the 3 tanks that he had to go through and find and sort and build these things. So quite a lot of work. Hunter and Lee, meanwhile, were really dedicated to that trench, getting every little detail. Lee especially is very attached to the bridge for some reason. He really, really likes that bridge that connects the 2 sections. What really paid off during these couple days was having such a good sorting system. Everybody was able to find the parts that they were looking for. Who are you? What are you doing in my house?
He infiltrated, man. I saw the Forerunner. I was like, that looks like David Hall's Forerunner. I gotta go check it out.
All right, man. So tell everybody who you are.
So my name's Caleb, or better known as Blackwell Bricks online. Have my main social on Instagram. That's where I do most of my content. But me and David have been friends for a minute, so he invited me to come help him out on Geo.
There you go. So the 3 of us, Hunter, Caleb, and I, we're all going to be working on covering up the battlefield now. While Lee over here is doing, what are you doing over here, Lee?
Gotta finish the mock, honestly.
You got to finish the mock.
Yeah.
It might be a good idea.
Just building inside of the rooms, pretty much. Just finishing off the exterior side of it.
So I took a break from the droid factory and went to work with Caleb and Hunter on covering this entire ground of the battlefield section. I specifically wanted to create some different shapes and designs on the ground so that it would kind of break up things, and it actually ended up looking really good and is actually accurate to landing at point and weapons factory. There are these type of lines and designs throughout the battlefield, which I didn't even realize until I went back and looked at it later on. So after I completed the patterns for the boys to follow on the battlefield, I went back to work with Jay on the droid factory, and while it might look like we absolutely know what we're doing here, we absolutely didn't. I definitely think it really helps to have such an experienced LEGO Star Wars builder such as Jay helping me alongside this big endeavor that is the droid factory. I mean, this is a complex structure, but having someone who has also built lots of complex structures right beside you really helped me throughout this entire build. Jay, you're the best, man. I could not have asked for a better build partner on the droid factory. It really makes me wonder what this entire LEGO Star Wars team of builders could do if we had more time, more pieces to build anything. I bet we could do some pretty cool stuff. So here's the final, I put in quotations, final droid factory. Now it doesn't have the, what I'm calling the cake topper, which is those spires on top. But as you can see, this structure ended up looking unbelievable in my eyes. Like, it looks way better than I thought it would. Like, I was really worried it would look too blocky, that it wouldn't feel organic, because that's the type of structure it needs to be. It needs to be an organic looking structure that comes out of the ground. And I think it totally matches the aesthetic of the rest of the Geonosis mock without looking too out of place. All of the designs here worked so well. While Jay and I were finishing up the droid factory and the night was getting later and later, Caleb and Hunter were not stopping at all, going crazy with basically every single plate I had in medium nougat and dark orange and placing it in the most natural possible way. Honestly, they did it better than I probably ever could have. The dedication of everybody here was just off the charts, more than I ever could have expected. After this, Jay actually went to work on the spire portion while I built the lower half where the spire would sit on. So we basically continued to be a tag team effort. At this point, I think it was roughly 4 or 5 in the morning. We had been building all day and into the night, with breaks, of course. And ultimately, we thought this was about good enough. Or so I thought.
We've been going all day. We finally got
the creator and the creation. That's it, man.
We got the finishing touches. Almost.
So yeah, we're up pretty late / early. It's like
the battlefield.
No, it's 5:30 in the morning.
5:30.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning.
We've been grinding, working on all these mountains, detailing. We got Lee on the camera.
We got this
Stay tuned, guys. This brick
/
this is what it takes, guys.
We wanted to have a moment of truth where we would connect the entire spire, but we reached some roof limitations, so we're missing about like 6 or 8 inches off the top.
Too tall. So at this point, we were all ready to go to bed. And that's exactly what Caleb, Jay, and I did. We woke up at 12 the next morning to find that Lee and Hunter never went to sleep. They spent an all-nighter continuing to work on Geonosis into the next day. I kid you not, the two of them door-dashed energy drinks. They went for a run in my neighborhood to get their blood pumping at 7 in the morning, and they just kept on plating Geonosis to get it ready for Brick Fair. I would have never expected this, but they did it anyways. When we woke up the next morning, we were shocked to see that Geonosis was just about completed, so I asked Jay to help finish those last 2 spires so we had a pretty much complete Geonosis. I also asked Aaron to work on other spires for the battlefield section, so he was working on that in the background while we continued to start packing up Geonosis because it was getting later and later into the day on Wednesday. Brick Fair had already started at this point, so we were all behind on time, so we were quickly trying to get this all packed up in the U-Haul trailer as fast as we possibly can. Going back to what I said in week 8, it really paid off to be prepared in terms of how I wanted to move this thing. Having sections of wood to wrap them with shrink wrap, having that device I made out of those 2x3 pieces of wood really paid off because we were able to, while slow, package everything without really any hiccups. If anything, I've learned that shrink wrap is your very best friend when it comes to these type of large build creations. As you can see, I did have to get a little creative, especially with the Droid Factory in terms of how I was going to package this. I shrink wrapped everything as best as I possibly could with the help of the boys here. So while it took a little bit of time for every single section, every single bit of Geonosis to be wrapped up in shrink wrap, it was well worth it because upon arrival to Brick Fair, nothing really broke, and I was able to swiftly put the entire mock together, so let's see the final results. So I'm sure there's at least some of you out there wondering how much it cost me to transport Geonosis to Brick Fair. It was certainly quite a bit. I mean, you had the U-Haul trailer rental, you had those specialty made boxes, you have those boards that needed to be cut, thanks to my dad, by the way. And then also I had to make that device. There was a lot of cost, and bubble wrap, oh my God, bubble wrap is way more expensive than you might expect. And so with that in mind, I have to thank the sponsor of this video, Whatnot, for helping cover some of those costs. So this Wednesday, August 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be having yet another Whatnot stream. For those of you unfamiliar, it is a live stream selling app. So on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing another stream selling all kinds of different LEGO Star Wars sets and minifigures. And on top of that, I'm also giving away multiple LEGO Star Wars sets, like a whole bunch of 330-second Clone Trooper battle packs. Those just recently got released. I'm also giving away a Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor during the stream. There is absolutely no strings attached with giveaways, so definitely consider joining Whatnot down in the description. Not only will you be able to participate in giveaways, but you'll also get a $15 credit that you can use during my stream with that link down in the description. Alongside that, you'll find a link to my stream, again, August 23rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which you can bookmark so you don't miss out on it. So thank you, Whatnot, for helping cover some of those transportation costs. Now let's get back to building. So after a very eventful and very long Brick Fair Virginia weekend, I came back with Geonosis unbroken. That's right. It also came back with no issues. Nothing had to be rebuilt. Nothing crashed and burned either in the U-Haul trailer or in the back of my SUV. So I've been asking myself, was it worth it? Was it worth taking this mock to Brick Fair Virginia? It was definitely worth all the hard effort to build the mock, but in terms of transporting it, taking it to the convention, rebuilding it, putting it on display, then having to disassemble it, repackage it, transport it back to my house, and now rebuild it for the third time, it was a lot more work than I had ever anticipated. While it was awesome to get such a great public reaction from everybody being able to see it in person, I did also gain one other thing: perspective. Perspective on how I want the finished version of Geonosis to look like. In fact, I want to make this mock bigger. But all of that will come in week 10. In the meantime, enjoy all of these different clips just showing all of the hard work Lee, Hunter, Jay, Aaron, and Caleb all poured into this mock at the very end. There's so many details here that I wasn't properly able to capture at Brick Fair, Virginia, and so that's why I'm showing it to you now. How much effort it was just to transport this from here to there and back. It was insane. What Jay from Rich Boy Jay was able to do with these corner sections to combine these bigger mountain sections on the Droid Factory blows my mind even a couple days after the convention. Not only that, but this spire design here that he came up with this in literally a few hours. The help I received on this mock is truly unmeasured. Not only that, but all of them also helped pack, transport, and help me rebuild the mock at Brick Fair. Jay especially helped me repackage it at the end, as well as my girlfriend Darby. It was truly a team effort on this entire build, and it really shows from end to end. Now, with these spires that are being attached on the roof of the Droid Factory, a happy accident occurred. The top spire so happens to be the exact height of where my ceiling ends, meaning that the top spire quite literally perfectly touches the top of my ceiling. This would be the very first time that any LEGO Star Wars build of mine has ever reached the height of my ceiling. Unbelievable, guys. My vision of Geonosis has truly come to life thanks to everybody's help. Something Jay had suggested is that I really shouldn't ever take apart the Droid Factory. I should leave it alone as a standalone mock to bring it to a convention in the future, which is far smaller than the rest of the mock, so I might just do that. So lastly, I have a montage of putting Geonosis back together in the studio. So you might be left wondering, well, what's left? Well, we've got a full expansion to be added to the mock. There's still work I want to do on top of the mountains. I need to fix the Droid Factory ceiling so it looks a little more elegant and natural looking. And of course, we have the inside of the Droid Factory, the generator room, and a little bit more. Plus, I have one giant surprise left up my sleeve. So in week 10, we'll be expanding the mock, fixing some areas, adding a little bit more, and the finale will really put it all together. You know, all of this doesn't even still feel real to me. I had 5 friends come down 3 days prior to Brick Fair and spend dozens of hours helping me finish Geonosis just to bring it to Brick Fair. Was it all worth it? That's up to debate. But did I have fun doing it with them? Absolutely. I'm going to leave their socials down below, guys. If you want to give them a follow, I would highly appreciate that, and I know they would like it too. So please consider looking at the description down below. Thank you all for watching, and thanks again to Jay, Caleb, Lee, Hunter, and Aaron for helping me get Geonosis to Brick Fair. I couldn't have done it without you guys.